Hello, this is Dave from ERC, and I'm going to do a quick video on how to set up a Spektrum Generation 1 radio with the Hobby Zone AeroScout. That's this plane right here. So let's just get started. If you have one of the newer Generation 2 or Generation 3 Spektrum radios, you can simply follow the instructions in the manual to set those up, or go to the Spektrum website and download the Spektrum setup file for the AeroScout, put it on an SD card, and then import it into your radio using the Transfer SD card menu. However, if you have one of the older Generation 1 Spektrum radios, like this DX8, you can do this. Start out in System Setup by holding the roller down and turning on the radio. Then go to Model Select, choose a model. I'm going to choose number 1 right here. Then go down to Model Type, pick Airplane, and this will reset all the data to make sure you have a clean slate to start with. Now you can go down and name your model if you want. I'm not going to do that right now, but you could give it a name there under Model Name. Next, go to Switch Select, enter that, and what we want to do is just inhibit everything to start with. Okay, we'll leave the knob alone. We're not going to use that anyway. Okay, now the first thing we need to do is set up the trainer button for the panic mode. So what we're going to do is go to trainer, it's up the top here, and set that to channel 6, which is aux 1, just like that. Then we're going to go to the flight mode switch, which is a 3-position switch. That's right here, and we're going to change that to gear, which is channel 5. Let's move on now to do the throttle cut. So we're going to go back here and get out of System Setup. Okay, we're going to go to the function list next, and we're going to go down to throttle cut. That's right here. And right now it's inhibited. What we want to do is change that to one of 2 switches. We can either use mix 0 or we could use gear 0. I'm going to use mix 0, which is right there. And then we just want to, you can again change it here, but I want to make that position -30. Okay, so that's what we have right there. Now we can go back to the list. And now I've gone to the monitor, which was down the bottom of the list, and we can try out the different switches. So mix 0 is over here, right here. That's the throttle cut. And you can see right here, when I have the throttle cut, it's below -100, down at -150. But if I flip the switch up, it starts at -100, and then I can use the throttle to bring it up to 100%. As far as the trainer switch goes, which is this button right here, when I press that, you can see aux 1 moving, and that's channel 6. And then we have the flight mode switch, which is this one, 3-position switch, and you can see that changing right here. That gives us our 3 positions when the switch is all the way down in the normal default position. That's beginner, and then we have intermediate, which is in the middle, and then expert, which is all the way down. Now you can do the same with other Generation 1 Spektrum radios, such as the DX7 or DX6i. However, the DX6i doesn't have any 3-position switches, So on the flight modes, you're going to have to use a 2-position switch. Therefore, you're only going to get expert mode and beginner mode, but no intermediate mode. Now, to bind to my DX8 Gen 1 radio, I'm going to take the supplied bind plug, just plug it in this cable that was already there. That comes with the kit. Alright, now I'm going to plug in the battery. Now, I've previously changed this connector to be an XT60 from the IC3. So I'm plugging in the battery, and then the receiver begins to blink right here, and there's a bind button. This is the trainer bind button. Just hold that in, turn the radio on, and you should see this light here stop blinking. Looks like it has. Hear that little click. Now we'll let go. So everything's functioning now. So that's it. Now we can go ahead and disconnect the battery, pull off the bind plug, and turn off the radio. So we're good to go. From now on, we can just turn the radio on and then plug in the battery, and we're ready to fly. Okay, so once your radio is set up, it's time to check to make sure all the control surfaces are working properly. So I'm just going to turn the radio around this way, and then we'll go ahead and test each one. So here are the ailerons, and you can see those are working correctly. You might also notice a little deflection in the elevator. I'm doing that by accident. Okay, now we'll do the elevator. So when we pull up, the plane will go up and down. So that's right. Now let's check the rudder. Right hand and left hand turns. So all those are working right. Now we need to check our switches, our flight mode. Our flight modes are right here on this switch, so we're going to check them. And we'll make sure that the panic button is working and the throttle cut. Okay, so the throttle cut is fairly easy. We'll try to throttle up and nothing happens. And if I turn on this throttle cut switch, now we should be able to throttle up. I'll turn that back off. Okay, now let's put it in beginner mode and check to make sure that's working. Okay, it's in beginner mode now. And you can see all the control surfaces are working, and you can make sure they're going in the right direction, which is opposite to the angle of the plane. So if the plane's angled this way, this control surface here and here will try to move it back that way. Same thing with the elevator. I don't know if you can see that, but the elevator moves to compensate for the pitch. Rudder does a little bit, but it's hard to see it. But it does compensate for the yaw, but it's just hard to see it because it's moving. But to me, it all looks like it's operating correctly for beginner mode. Now, the next mode is intermediate mode. Now, this one's kind of hard to see. I mean, you can move it around. Basically, nothing happens. Nothing's happening at all. So you might think, well, it's not really working, or I'm in expert mode. But the truth is, it is working. What you have to do to check it is move the aileron stick. Let's just use that as an example. Move the aileron stick all the way over like we're making a right-hand turn. Now, that's going to cause the plane to roll this way. And watch what happens. It gets to a certain point, and did you see the control surfaces snap back into neutral? So what that's doing is preventing the plane from rolling any further than that right there. Now you can let go of the stick and it'll still stay in the center. It'll keep doing that. So all you can do now is move the stick back to the left and bring the plane back to normal. Or you could press the panic button. So if you were like in this angle right here and you push the panic button, it'll move the control surfaces to bring it back to flat and level. Or a third thing you could do is just simply go back into beginner mode, and that would make it come back to level. Okay, and then finally there's expert mode, and we can check that. Go all the way up, and you'll see now that nothing happens at all. In fact, if I if I move the stick all the way over like this to make that turn again, let me go this way. So I'm going to make that right-hand turn again. When I go all the way around, you can see the control surfaces don't snap back into neutral at all. So it'll go completely around and keep going around doing rolls until you let go of the stick and then compensate to bring it back. So that's expert mode. You got full control. There's no limits at all, no envelope. You can do whatever you want with it. So that means all three modes are working. And I've checked the panic switch. I showed you that. So that's it. If your radio works like that, then you've got it set up properly. If something's reversed, then you may need to go in and reverse that channel on the radio. And that's easy to do. Most people know how to do that, so I won't show it. So that's it for now. That's a complete setup for the Gen 1 radio. Of course, that last part is true for any of the radios, any of the Spektrum radios. You can check the surfaces that way. All right, so thanks for watching. I hope you got a better understanding of how it all works. That's the AS3X safe technology that's in this plane. All right, leave any comments you want under the video, and if you haven't subscribed to me before, please do that, and I'd appreciate it. Well, we'll see you next time.